to the tournament for
that invite, the blue envelope, that invite.
Yeah, and with money, I think it's a little bit actually less important.
That's fair. That's fair. When it comes to something like money, that's less important. I'll grant you that. And we are going to have in this Todd Anderson, the number 4 seed in the Swiss. He will get to choose game 1 to play or draw. I predict play.
Yeah, and he's actually definitely playing. He's mulliganing though to 6. Really important actually. With all the mana denial like that he has in his deck, the Wastelands, the Dazes, the Spell Pierces, and the Stifles, going first actually often keeps your opponent at such a low mana environment that they can't like really function very well. I would say that Todd Anderson's deck kind of tries to play upon it's known as the aggro control deck, I guess, in this matchup. And the aggro control deck generally, historically, has been very good against the control deck.
Absolutely. From an archetype standpoint, aggro control is the only major strategic archetype matchup versus control where there's a historical pattern. When you talk about aggro versus control, or aggro versus mid-range decks, there's not really a historical dominance that one has had over the other. The only place where that's not the case, aggro control versus control, traditionally favors the aggro control deck.
Yeah, so Todd opens up with a turn 1 Delver. He also has Nimble Mongoose in hand, and let me see if this... I think there might have been a Force of Will. Chihoi definitely has a Force of Will in his hand. It doesn't look like... So it's a Daze, a Nimble Mongoose, another Delver, and a Dismember, I think. So it only has 1 land and no cantrips to draw him more land. The 1 land is all he needs to cast every one of his spells.
Todd Anderson reveals Force of Will, a naturally flipped Force of Will. Ouch.
Gives him even more protection against Chihoi's spells.
Yeah. The traditional reason that aggro control tends to beat up on control decks is that the control deck's answers take so much more mana than the threats being presented. And then when they present their answer, the aggro control deck can say, not that one.
Yep.
And what's interesting is Chihoi Yim with 4 Swords to Plowshares and then Terminus as an answer. Terminus is cheap enough to be able to get around some of that traditional problem. Force of Will from Chihoi to stop the second Delver.
Like exiling a counterspell to pay for that. Counterspell a little slow for this matchup, so that's it's funny that a 2 mana hard counter happens to be too expensive in this format.
This is a very tight mana format.
Yes,
and
Todd Anderson actually forces back the Force, getting the Delver into play. Very aggressive stance.
Now back to Chihoi. He lays a second land. No white source, says go.
Actually draws the second land. Really almost doesn't want the second land right now.
Snapcaster Mage comes into play.
Dismember.
Which, quick dismember from Todd Anderson. I presume then that the Snapcaster resolves. And that Snapcaster was trying to ambush Viper, that human Delver of Secrets.
So Chihoi drew a Swords to Plowshares, very likely to main phase Swords to Plowshares this...
the insect.
The insectile aberration.
If you're just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here with Ben Seck. This is SCG Live. You're watching the Star City Games Open Series featuring the Invitational. This is the finals of the Star City Games Invitational. Todd Anderson faces off against Chihoi Yim.
Yeah, first place out of this match is going to be winning $15,000. Incredible amount of money.
And we see the success of that Swords to Plowshares.
Bringing Todd up to 17.
Chihoi, a quick 1 damage from Todd. Chihoi is now down to, I believe, 10 or 9. Nimble Mongoose adds itself to the party, and then a mountain comes down after that. Now, these players have seen each other's deck lists. You saw the goose come down and then the land. Well, Todd knows there are no dazes over there. He doesn't have to worry about that stuff. Jace.
Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Oh, Jace plus bounce?
He may bounce He may look at bouncing the Delver because it basically means that the Delver he will keep these his Jace on the table.
He's going for the other keep the Jace on the table. He's saying, let's look at the top over here, see what you got. Anything good? Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's get rid of it.
Okay.
Now, if Todd Anderson wants to fight that Jace, it's basically creating a pseudo life gain for Chi Hua Yim.
Okay.
And he goes at you, he says, keep the Jace.
Right.
This is a very dangerous moment now. Once Jace is in play, and you get to untap with a Jace in play, it can be a very dangerous thing. Oh my goodness. He taps all in on Entreat the Angels. Does that work?
I think it does because like
Todd says, yep.
Todd only has lands in his hand, a land in hand, and that really puts a huge, like a huge hurting on the attack. Now he can almost like almost right to just stop brainstorming here. Oh, okay, so he's bouncing.
He bounces the Delver, and Todd has no effective attacks here.
Yeah.
Delver go. Again. Land in hand.
This game is taking a significant turn for the worse for Todd Anderson. He was just very quick. He draws a click, starts allowing him to.
Chi Hua is going to bury Todd under cards now.
Yeah. Unless Todd can find like a quick burn spell or something like that, he's going to look. I think this one is going to get out of hand too quickly. Jace the Mind Sculptor is basically like a figure 4 leg lock in professional wrestling.
Nice. Speaking of professional wrestling, I saw Saul Malka here wearing a Malkamania shirt in the form of a Hulkamania shirt.
So plays the Sensei's Divining Top, which is like yet another like part of the vice-like grip.
And Todd Anderson draws. He's hoping for something. He decides to fetch before he draws.
But after he looked at it with Delver Secrets.
Yep.
There's only 4 cards in the graveyard of Todd Anderson, so he's still 3 cards away from like getting Threshold.
If you're just joining us, you can see the culmination of the Invitational right here. This is game 1 of the finals. Todd Anderson on the left, Chi Hua Yim on the right. Todd Anderson, it was a couple of years ago that he got his, I believe, first major event top 8 in the form of U.S. Nationals, 2009?
Yeah, I think so. Might have been a year before that.
2008 was the Alian Shah's, no, pardon me, the Shaheen Sarani, Michael Jacob, Sam Black year. 2009 was the Charles Gindy year.
Okay, so Todd Anderson draws a Ponder, and he has a Tarmogoyf, a Wasteland, and I think he's shuffling here.
What is Todd Anderson looking for?
He really,
I mean, even if he gets to Threshold, the geese are too small.
Yeah, I think he's looking for a Lightning Bolt. A Lightning Bolt, not that it would immediately deal with the problems on the table. Well, he could actually kill Jace at the cost of his entire board. Maybe he just needs to draw bolt after bolt.
And here we go. Brainstorm. Let's see if we can find something good here.
Yeah, he just needs to draw a couple bolts.
And this is just going to be spell pierced. Chi Hua's like, nah.
Oh.
Nah. And Todd, I think that was a you can go now. And Chi Hua, I think, might Vendilion click. Oh, nope, he's just gonna top. Another Jace.
And a Terminus. I don't think he needs a Terminus right now.
Nope, he's gonna put a land on top.
Though if he Terminuses, no, I think he's almost better off just waiting a little bit.
And there's the land. I think we're going to see a Jace for a Brainstorm effect. The 0 ability on Jace mimicking the casting of Brainstorm.
Yeah, probably he may sack a land first, though. He may... No, he's just going to... Oh, he's going to... Knowing that his opponent has not... Basically just fate sealing him out of the game. his days, but Chiho Yim was well, like definitely understood there was a daze there.
Sensei's Divining Top.
What was the third card there?
I see it. The Terminus once again, the Jace once again, and Mystery. Draws a Brainstorm. And let's check what's on top.
Have to keep
you can keep it. That's sad news for Todd Anderson.
Yeah. The vice-like grip of Jace the Mind Sculptor. Ooh, there's a stifle. That's, I guess, may just be used to stifle the next ability of Jace, maybe.
Well, I mean, if he goes for the Jace Ultimate, he could stifle it.
It's true. I don't think he's going to go, since he knows there's going to be a stifle in his...
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. Brainstorm in hand.
Leaves it on top.
I mean, after Chihui gets to the point where he has the ability to ultimate, then from there, he can just brainstorm until he's ready to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I think he's...
And we get the draw and a land. And once again, Chihui Yin. Let's check. You can keep it.
Yep. Getting very close to that ultimate.
Todd says, okay, let's shuffle it away, whatever it is. He checks. It was a Delver. One thing I don't like in Magic Online is not being able to do things like check. I want to know what people put to the bottom. I want to know what they put to the top.
I think what Chiho is going to do is actually get it Jace up to 12, which it is now. Going to Terminus, then cast a click, then ultimate, because once he casts a click, he can remove the he can remove the stifle that is in his hand, or have the click ability stifled.
I mean, I don't think I would do anything right now. Todd Anderson isn't in a position to even be worried about. Now I might consider it. Now, you know.
I mean,
maybe I wouldn't even do it yet. I mean, like,
I think he knows he's basically going to win this game right now.
And Chihui drops a Vendilion click right now. Says you. Days in hand. Now, Terminus land. I think he put a land on top there.
Yep.
Untap.
So there is a small chance that Todd drew a stifle.
Chihui draws. And he's the guy, imagine going to ultimate here.
Yeah, he has another Jace in hand. So what he can do is essentially ultimate.
The ultimate ability of Jace will remove from the game Todd's entire library and make his hand be his new library. It's a pretty good one. And Todd shuffles his two cards. I think he's going to present to Chihui to cut.
The funny thing is, Terminus is actually going to put them on.
He doesn't have to cast it. He's still sitting pretty.
No, that's definitely true.
He can lay a Jace here and bounce somebody if he wants.
I think. Well, I mean, this game is, I would say, definitely over now. Like. So,
and Todd's like, okay, you got me, you got me.
So Chihui Yim wins the first game of the finals of the Star City Games Invitational.
That's right.
Now, on the sideboards...
Now, one of the things we do at the beginning of every sideboarding is we give away some prizes. The Star City Games Premium side is an awesome thing that you can get. You can read articles by a ton of great writers. I think probably our most famous writer might be a toss-up between huge Twitter following Mike Flores or Hall of Famer Brian Kibler. Those two guys have got like 12,000 some followers on Twitter, and
wow. They
are always putting out content every week at Star City Games Premium, as well as a host of other people. Now, Mike, of course, has a new book out, The OMG. And in it, it's an audiobook, not to mention there is, I believe, a print copy available.
What does OMG stand for in this thing?
I don't know. What does it stand for?
I think it's like a Original Miser's Guide.
Ah, is that the case? Nice.
Is he saying that he's the original miser? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, isn't Jamie Park the original miser? I forget.
It's very possible.
I think, so in any case, there's tons of great content that's available on Star City Games Premium. So make sure that you can be a part of it too by getting some free premium. The hashtag at the bottom of your screen, right in the middle there, SCG Premium.
But you have, basically, we're going to have a trivia question to work out who's going to get this free SCG Premium.
That's right, that's right.
Adrian has a question. What's going to be the question?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we saw happen in this top 8, we saw a lot of classic archetypes make it to this top 8. So what did we see? We saw Stoneblade, we saw Burn, we saw Rug, we saw Dredge, we saw Reanimator, we saw Miracles, we saw another Stoneblade. What was the other red deck in the top 8? What was the other red deck in the top 8? We saw Burn. What was the other red deck in the top 8? Answer, hashtag SCG Premium. A little hint, this question has a similar answer to one that was asked before. Make sure you put that hashtag in there, hashtag SCG Premium. Tweet the correct answer. One lucky person will get a free year of Star City Games Premium.
Okay, getting back to the game, now you can see the sideboards here. The one thing about Todd Anderson's sideboard is his deck gets considerably better after sideboard against Chihoi. He has the Sulfuric Vortex to bring in, Sylvan Library to try and like gather a few more cards, Envelop. Envelop is like particularly good against both the Entreat and the Terminus of Chihoi. And another important card is like Croson Grip. Croson Grip basically allows him to kill both Counterbalance and top without like having the lock in play.
One other card, did you mention Sulfuric Vortex?
Yeah.
Yeah, like this card, it is one of my favorite cards of all time. Sulfuric Vortex forbids life gain. And life gain isn't really a big part of Chihoi Yim's plan, but the other part of it that really matters is that it gives Todd Anderson a source of damage that is not creature-based. And so it's a way to dodge a lot of Chihoi Yim's very, very powerful creature hate.
Sure. So Chihoi actually has some cards to bring in, has Engineered Explosives, probably to allow him to kill things like Delver and Nimble Mongoose. Relic of Progenitors. Relic of Progenitors is actually very, very good in this matchup, particularly because it basically blanks Tarmogoyf and then resets Nimble Mongoose to 0.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I've loved doing with Relic of Progenitus is boarding it against Tarmogoyfs in all kinds of matchups. You can do something like chump a Tarmogoyf with some crappy creature, and then when you sacrifice your Relic of Progenitus, it didn't even cost you a card. The Tarmogoyf already has damage on it, and then it dies.
The other cards that might come in, Tricked Mage probably to get the aforementioned artifacts. And it's possible that he's going to consider bringing in another Terminus and Pyroblast to basically fight some of the counter spells.
If you're just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan. I'm here with Ben Seck.
Looks like Chihoi, who is on the play, is mulliganing to 6.
You can see in the background Glenn Jones, who behind Chihoi Yim, Glenn Jones, and then next to Todd Anderson, Lauren Lee. You can reach all of us here at the Star City Games Live coverage team by tweeting to @SCG Live. We're all monitoring that Twitter feed, and what we do, we use what you guys say in there to help us guide what we do for our coverage. So let's pretend that you are a big fan in the Legacy Open, which is coming up next. You're a big fan, let's say, of Reed Duke, and you want to see some Reed Duke. Well, if we have a say in the matter, it's all the more likely that we'll put Reed Duke in there for you.
Okay. See, so Todd's actually on the play. My bad, not Chihoi. Okay, so Todd has a Sylvan Library, a Spell Pierce, a Force of Will, a Delver of Secrets, a Misty Rainforest, a Tarmogoyf.
This is a very good opening hand for him as long as he has the mana. I believe he'll probably get a Tropical Island here.
So he could play his Tarmogoyf as well.
And we see a top.
Okay.
Now, this might sound crazy, but I think the turn 2 play I would do is Sylvan Library.
He doesn't actually have the land, though.
If he gets the land. The reason being, the Tarmogoyf is not very big right now. It's not liable to get much bigger.
he almost showed the Sulfuric Vortex, but it's an enchantment, not a instant or a sorcery.
Yeah, but the Tarmogoyf's not very big right now, not liable to get much bigger. But if you lay that Sylvan, you can just start going Necro Hut and draw cards. Chihoi's not going to be able to punish you for it.
Yeah.
And then after that, you can follow up.
So on top of his deck, actually, there is a Entreat the Angels and a Jace the Mind Sculptor. So he basically has Entreat the Angels just sitting there, ready to...
Ooh, look at that.
Ready to miracle should he need to have it.
And draws the Brainstorm. We're going to see a main phase Brainstorm after the attack.
Yep. What Chihoi really needs is a Brainstorm of his own. He has a Terminus in hand. Would dearly like to miracle it.
Brainstorm.
Chihoi's thinking of Force of Willing.
It's worth considering. Todd did not lay a land. He's main phase brainstorming before laying a land. If he can strand Todd on mana, it might be worth it.
I mean, that counterspell isn't doing that much for him.
I'm surprised it's still in his deck after sideboard.
Yeah, it really isn't like one of those cards that you want against an aggro control deck. It's just too reactive, funnily enough, too slow, as I said before. Just okay. I think Chihoi is searching probably for a second, probably a Tundra. No, a Plains. He's worried about the Wasteland.
Trinket Mage.
Trinket Mage. So
Engineered Explosives for 0?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's going to be an Engineered Explosives. Todd does have the Force of Will ready. He actually now can't protect this, so probably going to get countered.
Now, these players, as always, get an opportunity to see each other's deck lists going into this. So Todd knows there is only one Engineered Explosives in the main. A second one could have been boarded in by Chihoi, though. Todd just struggling here to find mana. However, his opponent, Chihoi Yim, down to, I believe, 5 life.
He may not even need to like... So he's
EE for 0.
It's gonna be counterspelled. There's no reason not to. Needs to be Force of Willed. Otherwise he loses all his... Wow.
There's
so
the Force.
There's Force, which is huge here because now Chihoi is going to be dead for the next turn unless he happens to find a Terminus on top of his deck.
Okay, well, that's not terrible. He's got a potential Angel or a potential Click.
Angel will get Spell Pierced, so he really has to kind of like consider that. The problem is the Click is the slightly counterintuitive play. I think he's still considering sacrificing his Misty Rainforest, reshuffling. and then searching again to see if he can get a Force of Will.
You have 50 minutes. You may begin.
One of the dangers of dropping down to 2 life, if you were to go with the click play, is that every bolt is a killer.
Mm-hmm. It's very possible that the bolts have come out.
Attack for 2. Pass.
Okay.
Todd Anderson swings. Chi-Hoi Yim goes to draw. Todd's like, sure.
Sure.
Please come to the open stage. Your event is ready for you.
And that's going to get pierced.
Yeah, no.
And the other problem that Chi-Hoi has is, even if it wasn't going to be pierced, he pretend that the pierce doesn't happen. He's going to lose his top, which puts him in a rough position too.
Yeah, no, for sure. But this game is...
Da-da-da-da.
Yep, it's over.
Okay.
I think the stumble that Chi-Hoi had was like forcing the brainstorm. I mean, I totally understand what he was thinking, except that if he's putting all his eggs into the engineered explosives basket, you really, really need to be able to protect it.
Yeah, I mean, it was overly aggressive. One of the things that I love about Legacy, and I've said this many times, is that when you make certain choices, if they're not optimal, it can absolutely cost you the game. I know I was playing against a Delver opponent, and they went turn 1 nothing. I went turn 1 on the draw, wasteland it. I was playing a control deck, and right there on my own turn 1, I set up my own death 6 turns later.
No,
Now there was nothing on the table after that exchange.
But you already have kind of signed yourself into oblivion at that point.
And Chi-Hoi Yim here, what did he think? He thought, oh, well, all I'll do is I'll just keep Todd Anderson from being able to, lay another land, and I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him this way. And what happens? He does not have the ability to protect the engineered explosives, which would have saved his life.
Yeah. Do you think that Chi-Hoi is thinking of bringing in the Enlightened Tutor for the engineered explosives, or?
He might already have it in. I hope he thinks about taking out that counterspell.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the counterspell. I think you probably want maybe even Pyroblast. I think Pyroblast, especially Pyroblasting things like Ponders and Brainstorms, it's not that bad. You have the mana. I think that he just needs more cheap answers in the face of the mana denial and like spell pierces and dazes of Todd Anderson.
Now this is one of those matchups where the Force of Wills by both players, there are many matchups where you side out Force of Will. This is one of those matchups where both players want them. Todd Anderson wants them to be able to push through an early clock and essentially then proclaim his aggro control status and also just protect that clock. And Chi-Hoi Yim, he wants them to stop that clock. If you were to change this matchup and make it Rug Delver versus Rug Delver, Force of Will is usually one of the first cards to go because that's a grind. Here, this is a fight over time for the most part.
Yeah, Chi-Hoi Yim just needs to like get himself into a little bit of the mid game. He'll miracle out like some angels from Entreat and be able to take over the game very quickly after that.
One of my favorite things about being at a Magic event like the Invitational is just the amount of players here who are playing in the Invitational who have had some successes in various different parts of the game. Chi-Hoi Yim, he's played on the Pro Tour. He has won one of the Star City Games Open Series events in the past. Todd Anderson, if you don't know his name, it's only because you haven't been paying attention to Magic for the last 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely. He's had some great finishes. In particular, he's had, I think, a second at a Grand Prix. He's made the national team a few years ago. He's won some invitationals. Won some Star City Games Opens. It's a lot of good Magic he's been playing. Okay, so it looks like Chi-Hoi, who is on the play this time, is mulliganing to 6.
You can see a little bit of, looks like a little bit of weariness on Chi-Hoi's face there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty taxing tournament for one. This is the 19th round of Magic they're going to have to play. and this is like really intense Magic, right, as well.
Absolutely. Now, I am reminded in many ways of numerous matches of Magic I've seen played and have played myself, where you're just trying to go through and make sure you keep it together, and because you can't let exhaustion be the victor.
So Chihoi keeps this one. It looks like he's a little mana shy on this hand, unless he has some cantrips. I saw a counterbalance, a Force of Will. Not what else I saw. So in Todd's hand, I see an Envelop. Okay, there's a Relic of Progenitus. Very effective against the Threshold and Tarmogoyf.
You can see an envelope there. Not an envelope.
But Todd Anderson happens to have the threat that is immune to the relic. Chihoi draws a Tundra.
Ouch! Does this resolve?
It looks like it does. Oh, he gets a Force of Will.
An early counterbalance, even without the help of a Sensei's Divining Top, can really just randomly throw wrenches into Todd Anderson's plans.
Yeah, especially because so many of his cards cost 1. Like Nimble Mongoose, Delver, Ponder, Brainstorm, Lightning Bolt, Stifle. Just so many. He's forcing. I think Chihoi may fight back here. He does have a Force of Will. Nope.
He lets it happen.
Okay.
Take that Force Will out of there.
Yeah.
We're gonna see a Wasteland, I think.
I'm pretty sure this Nimble Mongoose is going to be a little bit weak.
It's gonna be a very anemic Nimble Mongoose.
Okay, Chihoi
looks for a miracle that he couldn't possibly cast.
Yeah, he has a Caracas and I believe an Arid Mesa. In addition to, he has another counterbalance. That's the reason I think he let that one through.
And we fetch again. Todd Anderson with the Stifle in hand, but he's tapped out, so he can't sinkhole that land.
So he's probably getting another blue source, most likely a blue-white source, and then he's going to cast another counterbalance. So provided that Todd doesn't flip his Delver for a couple of turns, he's going to look okay here.
You see a counterbalance number 2.
And Todd does not have a Force of Will this time. So.
And away it resolves.
One turn too late for there, but it does
late to the party.
It does get his
clock is up. It's up to 4 now, and he's got a Wasteland in hand again. Take that, Tundra.
Okay, so the Tundra goes down. Chihoi does have another land in the form of a Caracas.
I mean, Todd can't keep running Wastelands, can he?
Well,
it's a volcanic island.
Draws on a volcanic island. Still, really doesn't have an answer to the stuff that is on board.
I mean, right now he is on a short clock.
Yeah, he's on a 4-turn clock, a 3-turn one if he happens to like get another sack land or something like that. One damage is pretty easy to come by sometimes.
Now the Nimble Mongoose is going to get an opportunity to grow now because Chihoi Yim, I think wisely, is getting rid of his relic.
Oh, Todd is thinking of stifling the.
No, he lets it happen.
No.
Chihoi Yim looking for some more cards to play. Oh, that was a lucky one there.
Draws
Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah.
Okay, upkeep. Wait up. I got a play here for you.
He's going to Swords.
Boom.
Okay.
Force of Will to protect it. The life total is currently correct, 19 to 20. The 4-point clock that Todd Anderson is presenting represents 3 turns until Chihoi's death.
Okay. Oh, the only 5-coster I believe in this deck is other Forces of Will. So.
Oh my goodness.
So the 3 turns. He he literally needs a miracle right now.
Wow, and Todd lays a goose. I don't know if I like that, actually.
Yeah, it really just plays into kind of...
What if a Terminus happens?
Yeah, no, definitely plays into the best part of Chihoi's deck. He's already going to be winning.
Yeah, the clock doesn't change in its number at all.
Oh, draws a
Vortex.
Pyro. No, I think he draws a...
Pyroblast? I thought that was a Vortex.
No, it's Vortex, I think.
Okay, does their miracles?
No, this game looks like...
Oh,
Oh, there he goes. Todd Anderson moves to 2-1 ahead in this match. It's like a fast clock. Chihoy didn't really have any like great answers to his creatures.
I wonder, is Chihoy Yim going to side out the counterspell, which so far this game has been a blue blank?
Yeah, no. The important thing, I guess, we've got to consider is he has 2 counter spells. He may not have like anything else to bring in, though. Even though
I'm looking at 15 cards, and I can see some cards that I feel like I would have too many cards to bring in.
It's very possible. It may bring the number of blue cards in his deck a bit low for Force of Will. That's maybe one thing. Maybe he thinks Counterspell is good in the format. Is good in the matchup.
I mean, in my mind, I definitely want to have in Terminus. I want Relic. I want Vendilion Click. I want Engineered Explosives. I actually really like a card like Trinket Mage, which we saw him cast earlier.
I think an Enlightened Tutor.
Enlightened Tutor with the Engineered Explosives, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a lot of cards you're bringing, and you're already at the 6 count. That's a fair amount.
I don't think Chihoy is bringing in the Pyroblast, mainly because I think that the Wastelands do too good a job of suppressing the red mana.
Oh, absolutely. I think that the problem that Chihoy has here is that he really needs to be able to cast his blue and his white spells. This encourages him to go get blue basics and white basics. And students of Magic history will know that sometimes a volcanic island in your deck can make your deck lose. You know, if Chihoy summons that volcanic island in his base blue-white list, that's not necessarily the way he wants to go.
Yeah, no, it opens him up to the 4 Wastelands of Todd's deck. And we saw that game where he was just like really low on mana, only had access to 2 mana at the end of the game.
Now, Todd Anderson, for his part, we see the Sulfuric Vortex, we've seen the Envelops. We have not seen a Grip yet, I don't think. He might not have brought them in. He might just be relying instead on an early aggressive start and red elemental blasts.
I think it's pretty important to bring them in. Mainly, actually, one of the biggest reasons I think is that it allows you to, if your opponent passes with Engineered Explosives for whatever reason, it allows you a shot at killing it without them.
Oh yeah, I mean, I like it. I'm saying we haven't seen it, and I don't know if he has it in there or not. And there are arguments to be made for not doing it.
Yeah, sure.
For example, the argument being it doesn't kill them.
No.
Now, I personally am a fan of, particularly after the sideboard, when you're against a match that you know what it's going to be, where it's not a random opponent in the Swiss, random by meaning a person chosen at random, but instead a particular opponent. That Croson Grip, if you slow your deck down a little bit, if you're answering a problem, that's important.
Okay.
Todd Anderson offering the handshake again, as though this is the last game.
I think he can taste the victory. Chihoy has mulliganed the last two rounds. He looks like he's thinking about it again. Todd hasn't looked at his hand yet.
And he does
oh,
mulligan.
wow. So it's the 3rd mulligan in as many games.
Now, in this finals, whoever has played first has won it, but Chihoy mulliganing here on the play. He's got to be hoping, I think, for a turn 1 Sensei's Divining Top.
Yeah, I think he needs to get the counterbalance locked down earlier, if possible, because I think the counterbalance definitely presents a big problem to Todd.
You can see coverage reporter Lauren Lee and editor of StarCityGames.com sitting off to the side, relaxing before the game starts.
Okay, so Chihoy will start on 6 cards.
If you're just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan with the Ben Sec. This is SCG Live. And after this final match, with its 1 or 2 games remaining, we are going to go straight in to Legacy for the rest of the day with the Star City Games Open Series. And that's going to be Legacy after this invitational tournament wraps up.
Okay. Wow, chooses not to sack his. I would be super scared about.
Now you see a Disenchant from Chi Hua Yim. He boarded in Disenchant, presumably to deal with Sulfuric Vortex. Ponder. Brainstorm in response. He's got it. Is that a Pyroblast as well?
Oh, wow.
Daze. Stifle. Oh
Chi Hua
my
is
gosh.
definitely paying for the fact that he hasn't. He didn't sack on turn 1. I think a pretty big mistake when you absolutely know that your opponent has 4 Stifles in his deck. Basically a free wasteland.
Hey, Magic players, William Corson, 2 side bets, and box 7 is waiting on you.
Sylvan
Library.
Library. Hey! One of my favorite cards of all time, and go away. I would Force a Will this right now.
Yeah, this isn't...
Force of... Yeah, there we go. There we go.
He knows he needs to get back in, like, with some threats.
Okay, Todd Anderson, do you know how to play with Sylvan Library? Show me the money. Next turn, you're going to have to show me what you got.
Players $10 draft number.
Necro Hut? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Almost.
Pays 8 life, gets 2 cards.
$10 draft number 2.
Still does not have a threat yet.
Heck, Threat Schmet. There's a Sylvan Library in play. That's a threat.
That's true.
And we see, I believe, Stifled, Force of Will, land. Todd shuffles it away. He's going to try to find an actual factual threat. Yeah. Sylvan Library in the running for my favorite card in Magic.
Solid one. It used to be a lot of shuffling effect with Thawing Glaciers back in the day in Sylvan Library.
And he draws a Stifle. Ponder.
Okay, second shot at some threats. Again,
there's a kind of threat there.
Yeah,
though to be fair, he's at less life than Chi Hua. Sulfuric Vortex does damage to all players. Todd is going to apparently use the Ponder Shuffle ability to get rid of all that.
I guess you could say that it's going to kill your opponent first.
Yeah. Todd Anderson currently at 11 life.
11?
He paid 8 life with the Sylvan.
Oh, he did. That's true.
Okay, so this turn, Todd Anderson will have seen 7 cards so far.
Attention Magic
Does not get a threat yet.
Last call to register for the final draft open of the weekend.
Chi Hua does not lay that second white source, preferring to prevent it from being hurt.
Yes.
There we see Delver, Envelop, and Todd pays 4.
Goes to 7.
That's it, Todd. That's what I like to see. A quick note. We have our first draft open champion of the weekend, Patrick Sullivan, my brother from another mother.
Patrick Sullivan having a great time on the Star City circuit, coming top 4 last week in the Legacy and showing that he has some range here and winning a draft open. It's actually his 2nd draft open he's won.
Okay, the Delver. We know that the Delver has a wrong card on top, so Todd Anderson shuffles it away. And he's going to try for a different card for the flip. Chi Hua Yim with a Swords to Plowshares in hand. I think you should just Swords that puppy right away.
Yeah.
Rather than give it a chance to do any flipping.
Oh.
Oh, did Todd just draw and not... No, he did not. He's being shuffled. Okay. And we get the Naked Flip. Shows a Force of Will. And now if Chi Hua Swords it, Todd will gain an extra 2 life.
Yeah.
That 2 life actually could represent an entirely fresh card for Todd Anderson.
Well, he does even have Force of Will, so he's almost definitely forcing here too.
And Todd's like, nah. I paid that life for a reason.
Yeah. I have another Force anyway coming up.
This Daze doesn't seem very good anymore. And Chi Hua is like, I'm going to search. No, you're not. I'm going to stifle that. Oh, okay. I'm going to I'm gonna say all right.
Yep, so Chihoi was actually going to go for his Volcanic Island so he could Pyroblast the Force of Will.
And 1, 2, 3, Tarmogoyf Force. Oh my god.
No, I don't think there's any reason to go to 1, so we'll just take the Tarmogoyf here.
Yeah, going to 1 would actually be bad at this point, given that he wants to use Force of Will. And Todd puts down Tarmogoyf, and he has a counterspell that he can use to protect both of these cards from a potential Terminus. 3/4 Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, this looks like a really good position, considering there's 2 Forces of Wills coming from Todd in the next 2 draws. He has an Envelop in the short term.
And a Spell Pierce for the other. And it's draw off Brainstorm Land, Entreat, Engineered Explosives.
Yes. So the Explosives is going to save him, at least from the Delver here.
If he blows up the Delver, though, this puts the Tarmogoyf to a 5/6. It only prevents 1 damage.
Yeah, but he could essentially do it for 2. It's a reasonable play. He's going to do it for 2.
And he does do it for 2. Spell Pierce.
Wow. Todd has all the answers.
Chihoi Yim.
Yeah.
Look at this.
And
4/5 Tarmogoyf.
And now, like...
Oh
well,
my god.
So Force of Will goes to his hand.
In for 7. Chihoi goes to 8.
Basically on 1.5 turn clock.
Oh! Brainstorm. What a powerful card. Envelop.
Yes.
Todd Anderson. 3-1. Chihoi Yim taken down by Todd Anderson.